book review time again. Now, I've been on a motorcycle club kick here recently, and we did Sonny Barger's book, who was one of the founders of the Hells Angels. Then I did George Christie, who was another national president of the Hells Angels at one point, or he was a president of one of the different motorcycle clubs. He was a Hells Angel, but whatever. Then I figured it'd be interesting to see from the other perspective of a cop, an undercover cop, whose job was to infiltrate the gang and do everything within his power to get as much information as he can. You have to find the right people for that type of job, and it's interesting reading a book from an undercover police officer, because when they're talking about their persona and the character that they're trying to portray, it's a little weird because this is real life stuff that they're doing, and they're putting on an act, but the act is in order to get people to like you, in order to get people to accept you and trust you and believe that you are this motorcycle gangster. So I started with, and I've actually read, once I got on this kick, I got going. So we have Jay Dobyns first, No Angel. And now Jay Dobyns is an ATF former football player. He went to college playing football, and he tried to make it to the NFL, not quite good enough to make it to the NFL, but his first week on the job, he got shot in the chest. He got shot in the chest. He I don't know, I guess he was chasing this guy, and he took his vest off so that he could go faster. He could run faster. The guy found him, put a gun to the back of his head, said, get in the car, get in the police car and get me the fuck out of here. Dude gets into the car. The other agents come up and surround him, and somewhere in that exchange, he gets shot in the chest. Goes through, I don't remember, maybe it hit very close to his heart. If not, it hit a couple of vital organs, but all in all, it took him like 6 months to heal, but he was like 26 at the time, so he was pretty young, just out of college, almost an NFL player, so a better athlete than most too. Yeah, so his first week on the job, he got shot through the back of the chest, because the person was in the back seat, he was in the front seat, and shot him through the back. You see there, it entered through the back and went through the chest. And crazy. But after a while of gaining experience as a cop, he went on to try to be accepted into the Hells Angels. So he spends some time hanging around the different bars, hanging around different angels, trying to get some type of an acceptance from the motorcycle gang. Eventually, he works his way in. I don't remember if he witnesses this or if he's just aware of it, but there were two angels who were talking shit to a girl named Garcia, I think it was. And she was talking shit to them, saying, okay, yeah, you guys are real big tough guys beating up a woman. So they beat the hell out of her, put her in the trunk, took her out to the desert. As they got to the desert, they opened up the trunk, and she was still blabbing her mouth saying, oh yeah, you guys are real tough. You're gonna fucking kill a woman. Yeah, two Hells Angels, real big bad tough guys. And then they ended up beheading her with the knife. And apparently they had a real hard time severing the spine, severing the neck. He did get convictions on them after being undercover for a while. But that's one of those crazy stories that you hear that you don't know, is that true or not? No, there were convictions, and at the end of the book, they do go through some of the convictions. After a while there, he starts really getting into his character, and he starts really getting into Jaybird being the Hells Angel. But he really wants to get a patch, and in order to get a patch, you have to prospect, and you have to basically hang around the club so that they can get to know that they can trust you, and they get to know who you are and see if they actually want you to be part of their club. So you're one of the hang-arounds, basically. But the deeper that he gets with this, the more time and effort he has to put in to becoming a Hells Angel, and then people will actually believe that he is who he says he is because he's there all the time. Now, the problem is he had a family as well. and his family had to deal with this. So he's trying to be a motorcycle outlaw during the day, an ATF agent at night while he's doing the paperwork. Because you have to remember, every single day, his day's not just done when he's done doing his outlaw stuff. He has to go home and write reports. He has to go home and tell, like, and tag all this different information that he's gathering, and have meetings with his other police and try to, with the agent who's in charge of their case. He had a couple of accomplices with him, or a couple of rats, or a couple of informants, whatever you want to call them. Guys who aren't police, but they work with the police. He had like 2 informants with him, working with him, and a woman. And she was a cop as well, and she was gathering a bunch of information as well. So they're gathering all the stuff, and he wants to get patched. And at this point in time, they were having a war with the Mongols Motorcycle Club. So the Mongols have been around for a long time, and the Hells Angels have been around for a long time, and they've always been going back and forth. And it seems like the Mongols are one of the only motorcycle groups to have actually won one of the motorcycle wars against the Hells Angels. But the Hells Angels usually have they have marketing on their side, so they have a much larger membership base. The Mongols, they're a little bit smaller, but they're a little bit more violent. Well, probably a lot more violent. But the Hells Angels, Jay Dobyns decided he needed to get a patch as fast as he can. So how can he do that? He came up with a plan to kill a Mongol and see how that reaction was. I mean, it does make sense. One of the best ways to convince them that you're on their side is to kill one of their enemies. You kill one of my enemies, I'm probably going to think, oh, okay, this guy's not so bad. Not so bad. But we have a little bit of interviews that we can go through so we can see the man himself talking about what it was like to fake a murder. And this is how he's convincing them to be like, okay, guys, I'm 100% ride or die.
The charter gets together, and there's no mitigation of it. Here's the gun. Here's how you do it. Shoot him in the ear. Shoot him in the eye.
They don't care.
Disassemble the gun. It's got the serial number obliterated. All the instructions on how they want it done. Not in the slightest bit concerned with what my plan is. What we did in reality was took a living, breathing member of our task force. We dressed him up in a Mongol cut. We took him in the desert outside of Phoenix.
Look at that. They're dragging him. They're literally doing everything that they need to, but they have the experience that they had. I mean, he's been doing this for 20 years at this point. So when it comes to staging a murder, these guys know exactly what they're doing in order to make it look as real as you possibly can, and there's no holes that you can punch in it.
We duct taped his hands and his feet together. We had a homicide detective come in and, using cow blood and cow guts, made it appear that our victim had been hit in the head with a baseball bat and then shot in the head and buried in a shallow grave. We took pictures of that.
Jesus Christ. This is ridiculous. But look at how, I mean, it's realistic as shit, dude. This is so realistic. I mean, think of the lengths that they have to go through in order to just convince these little bikers that they are who they say they are.
We took physical evidence from it. We cut the Mongol cut off of our pseudo-victim's back and then brought it back to the Hells Angels. I delivered it to them in a FedEx box that was addressed to me out of Mexico. I remember when I could hear the motorcycles showing up, that they were there to put this ruse on for them. I told my partner, I don't know how these guys are going to react to this. They're going to be implicated in a murder.
Yeah, who knows how they'd react. I mean, one of your friends just killed somebody. Now, you know these are outlaw people, so probably they're going to be happy.
So we tell them about this. I don't know if they're going to embrace us or if they're going to want to kill us. Do not let one of these dudes get behind you. You make sure you stand behind them. Do not let one of these guys get a shot on us from behind. They're going through it. They see the cut. One of the guys takes the box and he turns his back to the rest of the crew and he pulls the cut out and you hear him say, whoa.
Yeah, and the thing is, you'll die before, they'll die before you take their cuts off of them. That's kind of the point between the, with the patches, and then how hard it is to earn your patch. And then once you finally do earn your patch, you ain't taking it off for anybody. They do have strict rules about that. So taking a Mongol's cuts like that is like, that's pretty big stuff in the motorcycle culture world.
Well, none of us can see what he's looking at. And another one of the members says, well, what is it? And he's like, it's a Mongol cut. And he turns around and he holds it up and it's got blood on it. And then there's digital pictures of this guy laying in the dirt with his brains popped out, blood all splattered around him. And I told him a story about how we encountered this guy and we found him and we took care of business and we did things the Hells Angels way. Me or you, if someone delivers us evidence of a murder, you know, as we're running away or walking away, we're dialing 911, trying to get some help.
Normally.
Exact opposite with these guys. Hugs.
Yeah, you killed a Mongol. They're happy as shit. They were wanting all the Mongols dead.
Kisses. Welcome to the club. How does it feel to be a Hells Angel? You're a member now. One of the members put his cut on my back and said, you wear this one until you get your own. Complete acceptance, complete approval for what we had done.
It's crazy, man. They were happy. And they were happy. This elaborate scheme that they had in order to convince the Hells Angels that he actually did kill a Mongol. All of this sacrifice, having arguments with his wife, having issues trying to manage children going to baseball games, people being able to just enjoy their normal lives. He couldn't do any of that. He had to stay on top of being undercover and then getting caught. Now, or not getting caught. Now, towards the end of it, once it all started coming down, and I think he made like 50 different arrests, a bunch of different convictions. It all came down to he got in and he got... now, did he actually get patched? I don't think he actually got patched. I think that was what... I mean, he was close to getting in, but he didn't quite have to completely get in order to do his job, in order to find a lot of the shit that he was finding. Now, the thing that happened after this made me think a little bit differently about the whole situation, because afterwards... Jay has a bunch of issues with the ATF, and it turns out that they abandoned him and they didn't protect him after the Hells Angels found out that, yes, he was the undercover cop who turned them all in. And once they're going to court, he has to show who he actually is. And then there were people who had put murders out for him. They tried to arson his house. There's a bunch of different things. And I have an interview where he talks a little bit about it. And we'll cover a little bit of this because it just goes to show that, sure, the outlaws do live their own lives, and some of them are murderers. Not all of them. Most of them probably just like to live the lifestyle. They just like being able to go to a motorcycle club and hang out with their boys. And that's what they do majority of the time. But then you do get the tough guy persona, tough guy attitude that we all kind of get caught up into from time to time. But now, here he is talking about all of the issues that he had to face afterwards, because it turns out that the ATF's management didn't really have his best interests at heart.
But when the Hells Angels operation ended and Jay Dobyns' role in that investigation was revealed, the death threats started coming and his home was burned to the ground. And that's when the tables turned.
There was threats to kidnap and gang rape my wife on videotape that ATF disregarded, never reacted to. There was evidence of threats of murder contracts on me being solicited amongst various criminal groups, the Hells Angels, the Aryan Brotherhood, the MS-13, that
they were like, okay, we got to teach this fool a lesson. Yeah, dangerous stuff here, man.
ATF did not want to pay any mind to.
A federal agent's home is set on fire in the middle of the night with your wife and children inside. Most people consider your house being set fire to at 3:30 in the morning to be a threat. ATF is possibly the best arson and explosives investigative body in the world. You conduct a threat assessment.
But yet they didn't.
ATF did not do that.
Instead, according to Dobyns' attorney, the ATF tried to frame Dobyns for arson.
ATF was audio recording him.
So when all this came out and then his house burned down, they started investigating him to see if he was the one that set his house on fire.
Twice, without his permission, without required authorization from the U.S. Attorney's Office, long after the best agents out there said, we're done. This guy and his family had nothing to do with this, and yet management went ahead and still continued to pursue him as a suspect unreasonably. Department of Justice was gracious enough, I guess, to stipulate that they in fact did audio record him without permission after we found it out through discovery.
At least they admitted it. But geez, can you believe that? Very easy
This
to
is
believe,
how Eric
actually.
Holder's DOJ, with the word justice in its title, handles America's business and treats our law enforcement officers. It happens because people become power corrupt. The ATF Internal Affairs report found the agency guilty of what they had done, and they stood by and allowed DOJ to continue to attack me, even though they had a hard, cold document in their hands, internally produced, that told them that everything that DOJ was denying and arguing against was actually true, and was accurate.
Sounds like a bunch of bureaucratic bullshit.
They have each other's back, and that's it. Everybody else is left to fend for themselves. The DOJ's strategy was to deny the truth, to morph the truth, and hope to out-resource me. I told ATF's executives face to face, I will see this through or I will die trying, but you will not break me. You will not get me to quit.
Jay Dobyns said that you guys abandoned me. You have not protected my safety or my family's safety. The Department of Justice, the most they did is that they countersued Jay for money he made from a book about ATF.
They've also had my
They
book
tried to, yeah, there you go. There's the
on
book.
display within ATF headquarters, publicizing it and promoting it on a wall called ATF Authors, and bragging on the publishing of the book, at the same time suing me for it, saying that I harmed and damaged the agency.
Yeah, so there you go. Definitely a good read, definitely an interesting read. Fun going through all of the craziness that he went through with it and seeing where he came back. And now he's retired from police work and is like a football coach and living a normal, pretty normal life. But a fascinating book. I'll recommend it. I would say definitely check it out. It's fun to see it, especially after reading the couple of books from one perspective, which was the inside perspective. And, you know, they're probably not going to tell you exactly how it is because they're outlaws. So they're, you know, they don't want to get themselves in trouble with their stories. But the ATF book or the No Angel book, I feel like it was a little bit more exciting because he didn't have to protect himself. He could just tell you exactly how things went. And maybe, you know, I feel like none of these books are 100% exactly the way that they went. A lot of these are, you know, based off of your perspective and their perspective and all those good things, but very fun, very exciting. A bunch of drama going out throughout the whole thing. Half the time, you don't even understand how they don't catch him, how they don't figure out that he's a cop. But just like the next book that I'm about to cover on the Mongols, we have another book where another ATF agent broke into the Mongols organization, and I read that one, and that review is coming up as well. So I hope you all have a good one. This was another fun book review. If you guys get an opportunity to check out No Angel, it's a very fun book, very exciting. Twists and turns all over the place, and you pretty much know how it's going to end. You know that they're going to get him because they got him. But just seeing the way that it all turned out after the book was over, after it all was settled, and these ATF agents who were his superiors were the same ones who were active during the Fast and Furious debacle, where agents from American organizations sold illegal guns to criminals in order to track where the guns were going, but then those guns ended up coming back and killing other American agents of one of our agencies. And it turns out that they should have taken those guns up. They should have taken them away, but for some reason they weren't. They didn't want to, I guess they didn't want to destroy their investigation that they had going on. But all in all, interesting book, fun book. I'd say check it out.